Hi all, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. Maybe just because we've got quite a few of on the call, we could just kick off with each of you introducing yourselves and explaining your role in the making of this series.
Great. Well, I start. I am Maria Belén Poncio from Córdoba, Argentina. I am the director and co-writer of 4 Feet High.
I am Rosario Perazolo from Córdoba, Argentina too. I am the co-director and co-writer of 4 Feet High.
I'm Marisol Irigoyen. I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I play the main character of 4 Feet High.
Amazing, thank you so much. And maybe for people who aren't already familiar with your series, you can give us a brief introduction. What can people expect when they see it?
Ro, do you want?
4 Feet High is the story of Juana, a girl in a wheelchair who starts a new school, high school, and she there is going to find a movement for sexual education. And in this travel, she will discover her sexuality, her pride, her identity, like every teenager at this age.
And it's a cross-platform series. So we have 6 episodes in 2D flat format, and also 4 episodes in virtual reality. So in the Sundance Festival, we are in the New Frontier section and also in the Indie Series section. And we have not only video live action, but also animations which intervene in the video.
Yeah, it's totally amazing. And I think as you hit upon there, there's so many different elements of it to unpick. So first off, what was the inspiration behind the series? Why did you want to take this particular storyline and put it together in the way you have, in the very original way that you have?
This project begins when I met the producer of the series, that he wants to make a autobiographic of my life, and then I say no, we have to talk more about different topics from disability. And with Bele we create the whole story. We knew that we want to talk about disability, but we don't want that be the whole point of the story. Yes, we are going to have a main character who is in a wheelchair, but we are going to talk more. We need a story behind that. So that's how we start the conversation. And after that, we put in the table different topics. We want to talk about sexuality, friendship, love, proud, movements, and we with all this idea, we together say, okay, we can go in this way and this way. We want to show something that we would like to see from this reality.
And it also, I can add something to that it was, for us, it was very important to talk about women's sexuality and the discovery of women in the teenager, coming of age, from a more real perspective, that we are used to watching these kind of stories in cinema, told by men usually. So we wanted to in a way, represent our own stories in this topic, our own experiences. And also, it was very important for us to show the real dynamics of young people nowadays in Argentina. So we made a lot of observations in schools in order to understand what questions are they making to themselves, the way they talk, the way they relate with each other. And from all this material, we could build with other 6 scriptwriters. We could build this whole story.
And I think we are used to seeing coming of age stories, but watching it, it made me realize how often do you see someone with a disability in the lead role. So how important was it for you to kind of break through some of those boundaries, and why is it, do you think, that we don't see this more often on the screen, and do you hope that this is the kind of thing in terms of representation we will see shift in the future?
I can start if you want, Belu. We think that put someone with a real disability in a screen is a political act, and we want to make that responsibility from the industry. Like we are get to use to see able bodies acting like I don't know, someone in a wheelchair, someone with different disability, and that's not real. Like we are not seeing real people. Like we are faking a reality. So I think the industry is a little bit scared to work with people with disability, like in the timing of the shooting, like the money you have to put to adapt your environment to do that. And there are so many like ideas of how hard it's going to be. And when you can see for example, our piece, like you said, is worth it. Like you need to see that bodies. You have to take the risk. You have to be responsible with the bodies you are showing in the stories. So for me, I have a disability, and I have the lucky to have a partner like Belen who said, okay, I'm going to go with you with this decision, and we are going to make it together, and we are going to find this girl together. And Belen like have this power to create like from another perspective and put the importance in this narrative. Belu can tell you better, but for me was so grateful to have a partner like her to say this is important and we have to do it.
Yes, and regarding well, thank you. And regarding the process of the casting, like as Rosario said, we had this in mind, that we want to prioritize the political aspect of the decision, and we knew that maybe the person that we will find would not have experience in acting, but we said, okay, let's go ahead with that. And after a very long casting with I don't know, we have seen more or less 20 girls in wheelchairs in Córdoba and in Buenos Aires. And actually Marisol couldn't go to the in-person casting because of the transportation. So we found her after all the casting process. I was reviewing all the registration forms, and there she had registered, and she had sent a video in which she was singing, and she was very funny. So I said, we have to do a specific casting for this girl. And then we organized it, and I traveled to Buenos Aires, and it was a whole logistic, but it was worth it because Marisol was astonishing from the moment zero. She's really talented. You can see in the piece. She was very brave to give everything she had to make this character, and we built a character with a lot of what she is, with her talents, with her movements, with her body. So Juana transformed Marisol, and Marisol transformed Juana. It was a mutual process. And also with the acting director, Mattia Benedetti, which did an amazing job. And we have to change a lot of the script, but this is very beautiful because it starts to become real. Well, so it was a great decision. Mm-hmm. And we are really proud of her work, and all the other actors also say that it was a pleasure to work with her, and it was like a star quality, as they are saying in the reviews.
And Marisol, to come to you, you know, what was it like for you to be involved in this series, and what was the experience like for you of making it, and kind of, like you say, taking on this role of Juana and making it your own?
Thank you, Belu. It was amazing. It was so much to learn in so little time, and like Belu mentioned, having the actors director who I had some the first weeks were classes and rehearsals. That was very, very important. And well, the fact that not only was this being directed by women, but one of them was a person with disability, a disability rights activist, and I don't know, and Belle was amazing, and Ross amazing, and I just was surrounded by a team that I felt very comfortable in and very supported by. So this being my first experience, that was really important, um, and it being a story that I could identify with, and the kind of representation that I would have liked to have seen myself when I was younger. So it was really, really, truly amazing.
Mm. And you know, it is incredibly authentic, incredibly realistic. Did you ever find some of it quite challenging though to film? You know, we do get quite up close and personal to her character and these kind of this sexual awakening that she experiences throughout the series.
I maybe I was nervous before some scenes, but in the actual shooting of the scenes, it was just doing the work, and it just flowed. And like I said, the environment was really supportive and very, you felt safe. So um, it was like shooting any other scene, even the, you know, the intimate scenes and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I got nervous before, but actually doing the shooting was, it flowed.
And do you think there's something very important actually about representing such experiences in that authentic way and kind of appealing to that young adult audience? I just feel like everything, the look and feel of the whole series, you know, does feel quite of the moment, quite edgy. I mean, even the way all the characters look, I remember I was watching it thinking, oh, everyone's so cool in comparison to my generation. But you know, it really, you know, the colors that you put in post-production, the doodles, all these aspects. But I think by appealing to that generation, hopefully it gets them talking about these issues and it will start a conversation.
So it's for Marisol, right? The question?
For me,
yeah.
I mean, regarding topics, I'm like, I would have loved to have seen something like that when I was that age, because I think you learn a lot about the world through stories, and you might, with the representation available of disabled people that was available at that age for me, I was learning things that I like, even prejudices against myself, I would say, that I learned later in life that weren't true. That, you know, like I was afraid to date because I thought disabled people don't date or stuff like that. And that were prejudices that weren't true. So seeing something like that would have been like super amazing to me. So I hope that, like, I don't know, like narratives like this become more common, and disabled people can see themselves reflected and learn. I mean, I don't know if learn, but like be aware of the possibilities that they have, like for real life and for, yeah.
Yes, and I also think that we tried in a way to naturalize a lot the disability, like almost make it be there, but not putting a light on it, you know, like. And I think that for people with disability, it would be, as Marisol said, very interesting to feel represented and to identify with the character and to find situations that maybe they all also lived. But also for people without disability, I think it opens a door to say, if now I have a new classmate that has a wheelchair, I would maybe like naturalize it a little more and understand that she can go to the party with me, or that we can, like, I think we tried at least to naturalize a lot the disability in the story, and we wanted Juana to be a teenager as anyone else and have the same questions and the same problems with your family and like everyone else.
And I would like to add to like the girl says, we do the same thing with the main character, like naturalize the disability with the other characters. Like for example, her friend, like Efe, is a friend who is not binary, and we never talk about that in the series. It's like it's there and it's living the life and it's dressing like they want and it's okay, and the other friend like Julia is have a no hegemonic body and no one talk about that. It's like the character and it's the body. Like we want to do the same with Juana, with the other characters, like naturalize that that's the society. People are diversity. We have diversity and we don't have to do that the problem of the history. We can have the bodies there and express themselves and be who they are and not that be a problem.
Yes, and this is something that we see a lot in young people nowadays, that they are really like free and they don't want like labels, or they don't want to identify with something or with another thing, and that's why we really like have this as an objective. Like we really wanted this to be like free, and we looked in the casting for diverse bodies and diverse faces and diverse races, and like to show or to break with the hegemonic stereotypes that we are used to watching in films, and make it more real. Like more as if you go to school now, okay, this is it. Like we are all diverse and different, and the same troubles like happen to all of us in the same way.
And you also hit on a number of other issues, you know, like the push to introduce sex education into schools, and also about abortion rights, which I know is something that's been very, very pertinent in Argentina, you know, just very recently. So what did you also want to do by kind of inserting these issues in there, you know, this whole idea of empowerment, but also showing how the new generation perhaps are, you know, there is this activist movement where people want to get involved, they want to see change. So there's quite an optimistic view perhaps there.
Yes, this is something that is happening a lot here in Argentina. Like in the last years, there are a lot of student movements fighting for, like, from being part of political parties, or like occupying a school for abortion or for sexual education. Like they are really committed for future generations. Maybe it's not for themselves, but it is for future generations. And we wanted to portray that commitment, that fight, that power, that energy that young people have nowadays. And in particularly, the sexual education is something that it's a law, but a lot of schools wouldn't apply it correctly. So it's quite a very important issue, and mainly at that age in which you start to discover your sexuality, and it's kind of ridiculous that schools don't talk about it, or that we are supposed to learn it I don't know where. So we really wanted to bring this topic, and abortion is also part of the feminist movement. In December, it was finally legal here in Argentina, but we recorded a manifestation which was in February, like February 2020, and we could be there with the camera and make a documentary registration there.
I would like to add, like we were talking in another interview, like for me it's very interesting that this series come up in the middle of pandemic when people are going to classes in their homes from the computer. And for me it's a question like how young people right now is going to be political, where they are going to make a movement, where they are going to fight for their rights. So from their homes, from their computers, from their cell phones. And it's interesting for me that I can see 4 feet high right now, and I can worry like where is the places of the youth right now in the middle of the pandemic or the lockdown, and in where all this power is going to go to. For me, it's a question that I would like to see in the future.
Mm-hmm. And just to ask a bit about the, bringing in this virtual reality element in the last 4 episodes, and also, this other bits that you add in with the doodles, which kind of let us kind of enter into Juana's imagination somehow. So how did those aspects come in, and what did you want to try and do with the virtual reality aspect to it?
The project actually was born as virtual reality at the beginning, with the idea of inviting the person, the audiences, to leave the world at the height of someone in a wheelchair. So it's 4 feet high from the ground. And so the idea was use the power of the immersion of the virtual reality that really takes you to another place and to another time, and really makes you feel inside the situations, and to put yourself at the height of someone in a wheelchair and look the world at that height. So we did a first short film 2 years ago that was in virtual reality, and which was had a very interesting premieres in festivals, and it was people liked it a lot, but they all the time were asking where can we see it, where can we see it, and we felt like we were trapped because a lot of people don't have a headset, and it was very limited. And that's why we decided to go and not make all the series in VR, but make these 6 episodes in flat version, so more people can get to it and can reach the story that is so important for us. And that's why we kept the 2 aspects, more in the VR, more the sensorial part of the story, and some experiences that are more with less dialogues and that are more sensitive. And then in the flat we kept all the dialogues, the narrative, the conflicts, the character development. So we divided the story in 2, and they are independent, but you can you can see both of them separately, or you can see both and complement the story. Mm. And regarding the animations, yes, the idea was to invite people to feel or to get inside the inner world of Juana, and to get to their emotions and their feelings, and to see her perspective of the world. So not only what is happening around her, but also what is happening inside her. Mm. And so fortunately Marisol draw herself, so oh, wow. We also included her drawings in the video, and this was a link also to the inside and outside world of Juana. And then we had an art team, an animation team, to create this whole world of how did Juana imagine and how she feels, and breaking the boundaries between what is real and what is her perspective of that reality. And sometimes it's not so clear, but I think that's interesting. And also the animations, I don't know if you noticed, but sometimes condensed in an object that stays in the chair. So something of this animated world suddenly becomes a real object, and then at the end of the series the chair is full of decorations that are came from the animated world, so they link there.
Very clever. And how does it feel to have this series as part of the Sundance festival, and see having it virtually perhaps has some positives and negatives, because okay, we can't all be together, but actually perhaps it's reaching even more people, and it's an incredible platform for such a series to have.
we love Sundance. It's one of our favorite festivals. Like we have been there in 2019 when we present our short film. Was an amazing experience. We really enjoy it, and we love the people who work there. Like are very kind and very support to our project. So we are so grateful with that. So for us, it's a party beyond Sundance. Like we are very happy in this virtual opportunity. The I think go to a festival is an experience itself. Like have the feedback from the people, have the meetings, have the parties, have the I don't know, knowing people, chatting. It's a huge experience around your project, around something is moving you, but it's like a personal experience. In this way, like online experience is very different because you don't feel like the warming of the people, like the faces, the smileys, the eyes. You don't see the real connection. But at some point, you get to more people through the media, like from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, like comments, like you get more information and you are in the same level, like from every project. Like when you are in the festival, you have to be there, like promoting and moving and talking to people, and in the internet or the online experience, you are in the same position like everyone else, and that is opportunity for the smaller projects and the independent artists. Is for me, it's like an opportunity to show in the same conditions your work.
And just finally then, what do you hope the impact of this series to be? What do you want people to take away from watching it? But also, do you hope that it will spark conversations in younger people, and hopefully in future we will see more diversity on the screen and in who can tell stories?
For me, I would really like people to make new questions about what is beautiful, what we consider beautiful about the bodies, what we consider erotic about the bodies, and to like in one sense to accept more ourselves as we are, but also to be open to accept others that maybe are not fitting in these structures that we were taught to try to get, and be open to other kinds of living, of identifying, of being, of bodies, and make this question at least, and be open to find the beauty in diversity and in other types of bodies that we are not used to watching or seeing, or being learned that they are beautiful in a way.
Mari?
I mean, I hope that it can set a precedent for the fact that to hire more disabled people for filmmaking, and also like to be interested in the stories of disabled people, because like there's such narrative richness that every disabled person I know has had such an interesting life, and it's like a missed opportunity. So hopefully that becomes more the norm and becomes more present in media.
The same from the girls. I think that we are all in the same symphony. So I think they say the same, I think.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much, all three of you, for sharing all that with me, and for this really wonderful series, which I just think will make a difference. I think representation on screen can impact. So thank you so much for making it.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks for your time. Cheers. Have a lovely evening. Thank you.